What is up, my fine scale family? Hey, welcome back to another video from HO Scale Customs. This time on our videos, we're going to show you how we turn these fine and dandy little barrels. You get them in almost every kit. You either get these or it's the 55-gallon drums that you get a lot of. But I think they're kind of underappreciated. So we're going to show you how we turn these boring looking barrels. They shouldn't be boring, by the way, into just a way more detailed little barrel in just about, a couple of minutes. So in a few minutes, we'll show you how to turn them into a better looking barrel. So the first thing to do is obviously start with your white metal barrel, and you clean up these little things probably better than we would or we did tonight. This is just for demonstration. I apologize if you can see it. This one hasn't been cleaned yet. So I take this and I hit it with a quick coat of black spray paint primer. That's the first step. The second step is to get your paints ready. So tonight I'm using the 3 different paints you see below. Well, it's just 2 paints actually. One is Folk Art Mushroom. That's the top one in the palette. And the next 2 are Burnt Umber from Apple Barrel. And the first one is just Burnt Umber Paint Straight. The second one is Burnt Umber Wash. And I just took an eyedropper and I mixed just about that much paint, smaller than a dime, with water to make a wash. We'll just set that here so you guys can see that. And let's get started. So the first step is to paint the base coat of your barrel. So in this case, we're going to use the Mushroom from Folk Art with our smaller brush. And I like to keep these sprues on the barrels that I'm holding because it acts as a little handle and you can always break it off the bottom of the barrel when you're done anyways. Plus it's the bottom, and unless you're turning your barrel sideways, that's the end that's going to be glued down. So it's okay if it's not painted. I also wanted to just say really quickly that I use black spray paint as a base. I just like it better than white primer, because if you leave any, not necessarily on this casting, but if you have any castings with really deep details, the black spray paint or the black base coat primer really shows more detail in those crevices in the detail part. So we got our first coat on. Now we're just going to hit it with our handy dandy hairdryer and come right back. I must say also, this episode is brought to you by Brett's Pretty Pink hairdryer with the sunflower on it. Okay, the first layer is dry. So we're going to just put a very light layer on again. And this one I'm actually just going to put a very thin layer on because I don't want to lose any detail by caking on more and more paint. Okay. We got coat number 2 on. We're going to just let that dry again with the good old hairdryer. Let's try to burn our fingers again. All right, now that that's dry, I'm going to actually paint the barrel bands on this. And that I'm just going to do with the Burnt Umber paint, not the wash. So very carefully, you guys are going to watch me paint these barrel bands on. So let's see if I can mess these up for all of you. And I'll speed this up too, so you don't have to hear my heavy breathing. All right, here we go. Okay, real quick, I want to give you guys one tip for how I keep my lines so straight and so small when I'm working with small stuff like that. I actually use my pinky as a brace like this, and I just lean the weight of my hand on the pinky finger and draw it straight back. I just find that that works best for me when I'm painting really fine lines. It keeps my hand from shaking quite as much. Okay, we got our barrel bands on. So they're pretty good. Got a little thicker rate in there, but for the most part, I'm cool with that. There's also a little spigot or a little spout on here real quick. I'm just going to put that dot on. It's like the cork or something for the barrel. There we go. That's it. All right. So we're going to let these dry obviously with the hairdryer. And we're next going to put our wash on, but let's let these dry first. Whoa! We threw her on turbo mode. We don't need that. All right. The final step with this is to apply the wash that we made with the burnt umber and the water. And this is actually a really easy step, and it only takes just a second. So come back up here. Somehow my palette got knocked way down. And we just take our wash, which is just water and acrylic paint, acrylic burnt umber, and we're just gonna brush it onto our barrel. And you can spread it on thinner. It'll go on thick when you first put it on, but spread it around. And what that is doing is we're gonna do a couple coats of this to show you, but it's gonna bring out those details, the lines in the barrel specifically. Don't forget the lid, or whatever you call it, the top. Okay, we're gonna dry this real quick, and we're gonna do it again. Okay, so let me adjust the light here so I can show you guys up close what we're getting at. So here is the barrel so far. It's got one layer of wash. We're going to do layer number 2 now. I think we might only do 2 layers because I don't want it to get too dark. Then you lose the detail again. But I'm pretty satisfied with that. Get the lid again real quick. We're going to hit it with the hairdryer. And there you go. Quick and simple way to do barrels and add a lot of detail to what would be an otherwise pretty underwhelming part. I see a lot of times they're just painted flat and maybe dunked in an India ink wash, and it's just not, they just don't do it for me that way. So add those barrel bands, paint that little cork on there, throw a couple layers of a wash on it, and it just really brings out way more detail in those tiny little barrels. So, and hopefully if you like this, you'll follow our page and you'll give us a like, follow the barrel. You give us a like down there. You can also subscribe to our page and make sure you click the bell icon for some notifications. So that's it. That is our barrel. Hope you enjoyed this one. Later, Fine Scale family.